This is Hi, My Name is Mom, a podcast about motherhood. Here are your hosts, Jen, Corri, and Kaela.
Don't sit hard in the middle.
No. That's what he said? She said?
No, it's like...
I know.
Nobody appreciates that
There's
humor
something
when
very
I
hard.
say it.
There's something very hard in the middle
I
of
didn't
this
mean to
couch.
say it.
Oh
okay.
my God.
Should we talk about periods?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about periods. But really quick, go follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you are listening to this on your podcast platform. And if you would, go and follow us on a podcast platform if you're watching.
And if
would
you're
just be
feeling
great.
really inclined,
Leave a comment.
write a review, help us out. That helps us more than anything. Those
If you
reviews.
leave a comment, sometimes I Venmo you coffee money.
That's true. But also come follow us on socials at Hi, My Name is Mom Official. Is there anything I'm missing?
Nope.
No.
That's our business.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about bleeding from holes in our bodies. Cheers.
Cheers. We
Cheers.
are
Cheers.
back.
We're,
We'll go
we're not
forward.
whining, but we are drinking wine. And it's Dow Vineyards a Bodyguard Chardonnay, and it's so good. And it's because we're going to have a wardrobe change later tonight. That is a surprise. So I have a question. And this kind of goes along with the birds and the bees talks that we've had here before.
Oh, my word.
Because obviously boys and girls have to talk about sex. Right? Like, I feel like you've been going through it. I feel like you've been going through it.
You have.
I think I need to do an Instagram live on that. We should point everybody to our Instagram.
Oh,
we should do
Jen
an Instagram
has
live
some
on
stories lately.
Wow.
But the other piece of it for girls is that you have this weird thing where your body starts bleeding. And I feel like
you just randomly start bleeding.
you just all of a sudden one
You
day
guys
you're
have
bleeding.
a very long time until that conversation comes up, thankfully.
Yeah, we do.
I got lucky though, because with Ava, she was so old when I was pregnant with Evelyn that she learned all about what the female body does, like while I was pregnant.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
truly, because
Yeah,
she
right,
she saw me
watched it.
bleeding after I delivered. She was
Yeah.
like, almost 10, right?
Yeah.
So, or 9, whatever.
How long she started her period?
Yeah.
Well, and we don't necessarily have to talk about
I
her, 'cause
asked her if
don't
I
know
could
she's
talk about it.
comfortable
I
with
I
that.
think she's like borderline comfortable, but
well,
as long as
instead
this
then-
doesn't make our social media like feed this part, her stuff make it.
Well, why don't I
whatever.
ask you this instead? Because I feel like I'm curious about this, and I think we should each share what we were taught and how we started our periods. But what did you how did you prep her for that? To be like, hey, by the way, there's a hole down there, and one day blood's gonna come out of it.
Yeah,
every month.
So because she was so like in my face, and I'm not very private. You guys know, like
Yeah.
I kind of walk around naked. I'm very like I'm just.
You elliptical naked.
Yeah, I do.
You
It's the
elliptical naked?
I
With
do.
your
I
kids?
do. Legit. No, they go to school, and then I
No,
get.
what was it? One morning you're like, I can't FaceTime you. I'm
Here's the
naked
deal.
on the elliptical.
I'm gonna say this right now.
I'm like, you sit on it.
Wait, can I ask you why?
Dad or Alive
Why?
did a deal with Life of Dad, and they did a deal with Bowflex. So we got a Bowflex Pro Trainer Max, and
Yeah,
yes,
you did.
I work out naked and shoeless. You know why? It's the only way I do it. This is why I don't go to a gym, because I have no motivation to get dressed and go work out, but I can get on and do sprints
Like, you're
barefoot,
naked.
naked.
You're just naked already?
I have photos. Yeah, like I'm getting dressed in the morning, and it's like, oh, let's do a 7-minute sprint.
So wait, are you
Like
sleeping
your
naked?
vagina.
No,
like your
I don't sleep
vagina's
naked.
like on there naked.
Well, you don't. It's standing, so my vagina doesn't
standing.
touch anything.
It's
you mean
not
my
a bike.
vulva?
It's
Wait,
not- it's
hold
not
on.
a
I'm thinking
Peloton.
bike. I'm thinking bike. I'm like, you're on a. Okay, I don't know why I was thinking like a bike.
And she's getting
I'm
more
just
little
like,
exercise.
I'm just like, yeah, there's a lot of rubbing going on.
Right. Two birds, one stone, man. Who needs a vibrator when you have a
Do you
Peloton?
remember back in the 80s? That's what the spin cycle was for. Do you remember that on Mr. Mom?
That's so funny.
Reset.
Hold on,
Reset.
Olive Tree is attacking me.
Reset.
Ready.
No, there's no
There's
resetting.
no reset. We do live the tape now.
But here's my question: is that what? I have no problem being naked or with you being naked on the Bowflex or whatever. But I wouldn't.
You're
want my
naked on
boobs-
a Bowflex.
I wouldn't want my boobs bouncing around.
Oh,
but
I
also
Yeah.
I feel like I get sweaty and like. But do you
Yeah.
get undressed to get on the Bowflex and
Well,
then you get dressed?
It's more like I get undressed. I sleep in like either a t-shirt and underwear or like pajama. You know those pajamas we got from Kinder Bravely?
Yeah.
I love those
I do too.
Julies.
Yeah, me
And
too.
there's a little shout out to them. Like I wear them every night. And then Adrian bought me a Victoria's Secret pair
Yeah.
that are just pink, a pink version. And I love them. So I obviously change. Sometimes I do carpool in those pajamas. I'm not going to lie.
I thought you were gonna say
like-
naked. I'm like, you do carpool naked? What is wrong with you?
Oh, yeah, that's Jen.
Now
She's the
that-
one who does naked
That
carpool.
is our Instagram post for this episode.
Who does carpool
Bowflex naked.
What mom gets up and is like, I'm going to drive through my school naked?
People do yoga naked, right? How yoga to me is even worse.
But I really, and
okay, let's go back.
I'm just curious,
go back. Okay.
Like, why wouldn't you leave is it because you don't want to get your jammies
I don't want to,
dirty?
yeah, because I'll wear those. I bathe every night before bed, so those aren't like dirty. So I wear those several nights. So I take them off. So it's really just
and I'm
like
less
getting
laundry.
dressed.
It's a laundry thing.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting dressed.
But you don't even put like underwear and a sports bra on.
No.
But aren't you, don't
I
get
get
my
hurt
boobs bouncing.
My boobs are tiny.
But they still bounce.
They still bounce. Tiny boobs
Not
bounce
when
too.
you're doing a sprint.
Right?
Just hold your
Not
arms
when
up.
you're doing when you're doing a sprint like
Hold
that
up.
because it's no impact,
Guys,
right?
I wish I wasn't visualizing
God
Jen
damn.
naked on a Bowflex.
I have a photograph. Do you want to see it?
So wait, stop. I need to clarify something really quick.
But it's this,
because
right?
as someone,
dying.
Am I
hold
right
on.
about this?
What?
Is that what a sprint looks like?
It is, but you don't lift your feet because it's elliptical. It's an elliptical sprint, right?
That was my version of
That's your version. It's
But
very
I just
good.
need to say
Thank
this.
you.
As a former A cup,
Yeah.
they still jiggle and bounce.
Even when they're
Yeah,
small.
they
Even
do.
when they're small.
Now,
Especially after nursing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was a very perky A cup.
I think if you do a sprint on an elliptical right, you're not bouncing like that. You're not. You're really not. Think about it. You're not doing the back and forth. You're literally sprinting.
yeah, but they still are.
Mine do not do that. I don't
Anyway,
know.
periods.
Do
Gosh.
your boobs hang
Sorry,
low?
I
Do
got
they wobble
really-
to and throw? Can you tie
I
them
will
in a
not-
knot? Can you tie them in
I
a
will
bow?
not
Can you
share
throw them
that
over your
photo
shoulder
on
like
Instagram.
A soldier, do your boobs hang?
I
low?
can't believe I haven't shared
I love
that photo with you guys.
casually, though, that came out. Like,
Well,
oh, yeah, she
I
naked
can't
Bowflexes.
believe you know that. How did I tell you? Did I just tell you
How
at
did
one
you
point?
not tell me?
That's a
I've
good
known for
question.
a long
Probably just sent her the
time.
picture.
Well, how does Corri not know? That's the bigger question.
No, it was literally I was calling you and you're like, oh, I can't FaceTime. I will. This was like probably 2 years ago. You're like, I can't FaceTime, but I can talk. I'm on the elliptical, and I was like, oh, why can't you FaceTime? You're like, I'm naked.
Oh,
No. And here's the thing: your kids were home because you were like, Charlie, da, da, da. And I was like, what are
they
you
might have
doing?
been. It might have been like a
Yeah,
Saturday
no,
or
he-
a
yeah,
holiday
it
or
was
something,
totally
or
like-
summer.
Yeah, and he was like
Yeah.
in the living room, and you're like, don't come in here, blah blah blah.
okay,
and I
well,
was like,
regardless, Ava's aware of where the holes are.
Yeah,
and
so
all the
yeah,
body
let's get back
things.
on
Yeah.
track.
She knows. Okay, so you guys know.
that was the most random
First of all,
sidetrack.
first of all, speaking of little segues and side trips,
I'm sorry.
have you guys ever heard the Bert Kreischer period party bit?
No.
Holy crap. We need to find it and put it on our socials. He's so funny. His daughter started her period at school.
Oh, yeah.
And they had this whole thing set up. Apparently at their school, it was like a celebration. And you had a period party. And
I
you,
kind of love
No.
that.
But you invited the boys and you didn't tell them what they were going to.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. My daughter's not quite
That's
like
so
confident
funny.
enough in that, I think, to have that. But oh my goodness. Like, you know what's funny? I guess I can say this without, yeah. Ava, even though I am always naked, like I'm not very modest. So I felt like I've been trying to show her that like her body's something to be proud of. She shouldn't be nervous about it. She shouldn't be embarrassed about it, right?
Yeah.
But she has always been. I mean, her whole life, she's always walked around like this.
I was like that.
Right. And I get it. I do get it because your body's changing. You're like
My
nervous about it.
sister's like that.
What's weird, and it's not even just when it's in front of the boys. Like she would do it in front of me. And I'm out there like, oh, we're just two of us in the bathroom.
Yeah.
As soon as she started, that chick walks around like this in front of me. She's
gave
all
her
like,
confidence.
oh yeah. She's like, I don't know what it was, but she has a great little body, and I'm glad that she is proud of it. That is
Right.
like super important to me.
Yeah.
I will say I have been really struggling because she started her again, it's like I don't know how much I want to talk, but she did start it before school, and she's a cheerleader. And so like her first day of one of her middle school years, she's at the school in a cheerleader uniform.
I
and
did
she's-
know this because
Yes.
we texted about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you started
Yeah.
using tampons really early because of
Yeah.
that,
For-
right?
Out of the gate.
Yeah,
Out of
and
the
so
gate, yeah.
Ava, that's something I've sort of been slowly prepping her for because I think it's probably necessary now that it's getting like a little more regular. And then also, I'm a massive fan of the flex disc, like no matter how you spin it. So
Yeah.
I really hope someday she uses that. Anyway,
So she
what
knew
was
that
your
was
question, by the way? Was it only
how
about
did you
Ava? 'Cause then I
prepare
can-
her to know that her body was going to do that?
because of the age gap in my kids, and she knew what your body was designed to do.
Okay.
And so we had that conversation because we've talked a lot about the sex conversations and how you have those coming of age conversations. And
Yeah.
so for Ava, it was like, this is what happens first. And this is, you know, God's way of making sure that like you can have babies and like someday those eggs that you are, you know, letting go of every month will turn into a baby.
Well, the reason I ask is because, you know, we all have girls, and I was introduced to what a period was in kind of a traumatic way that made me terrified to start my period. I was a dancer, so much like she's a cheerleader. You know, we were always in leotards, and when I was in 5th grade, I already knew, I think I've spoken before on the podcast about how I had a book and it kind of showed what happens when we had our Birds and the Bees episode. And so I was aware of how babies were made. And I was vaguely aware of the idea of a woman's menstrual cycle. Mm-hmm. But then in 5th grade, when we had the sex ed and they separated the boys and the girls.
That's right. I remember that.
They separated boys and girls?
Thank God. Because it's like, what girls want to hear about that?
Really? Yeah. Okay, well, I want to hear about that too. So my teacher was she had this little high-pitched voice. I was asking my mom, I'm like, what was her name? And neither one of us could remember. Maybe I blocked it out because I remember all my other teachers. But she was this sort of like very thin brunette woman, very pale. And she always sort of talked like this. And it's because she used to be a dancer too. And so you could tell she was uncomfortable with the conversation. And when she started to tell the girls about periods and what they were, she was like, and I'll tell you the story of how I started my period. I was dancing in front of my class wearing a white leotard and the blood started gushing forth. Okay, I told my mom, I go, did I ever relay this story to you? Because this memory is seared into my brain. Whether she actually used the words gushing forth.
That's how you took it.
That is what is seared into my memory. I know and that is what I remember. I know it was a white leotard story. Like, why would I make that up?
No, that's just,
and as someone who was in dance class all day, every day, I thought,
this is going to happen.
What if it happens at a dance competition? And I do a high kick and blood starts gushing forth.
Like a squirt gun.
And so I just was so terrified. And I also, for some reason, this did not come from my parents, but I was so shy, much like Ava, where if like I liked a boy, I wouldn't talk about it. I was shy and modest about my body. And one of my close girlfriends who you know is Amanda Donovan. Mm-hmm. She was like so confident. She's like, here's how we shave our legs. Yeah. And I got to start shaving my legs because she got an electric razor. And so and she would just be like, here's my foot out of the tub. And she was so cool. And so
an electric razor?
Yeah, for our legs. We got electric razors first.
That is so funny.
And
I know, Kayla's like, wait.
I'm pretty sure I only got to do it because my friends did, and I was like a year older than them. But I had forgotten about this until my mom reminded me today that some magazine had a thing where you could send in and have like a little thing of tampons sent. So she had them sent to our little friend group.
Oh, that's good.
So I had a little pack of tampons, and I remember and of course, it was not dramatic at all when I started my period. In fact, I hope if any young girls watch this, like, there's no gushing,
it's usually a couple of little spots.
You just wipe and you see something on the toilet and you're like, okay. And that's how it happened for me. And I was like, no. I was like so upset. And I remember crying and telling my mom, and I had to go straight to dance class. And so I remember her going, well, here's a tampon and here's what you do with it. She didn't stay in the bathroom with me or anything. I don't think I would have wanted her to. And I remember my hands shaking and being like, I don't even know exactly what's down there.
Something goes in there? Yeah.
And I remember doing it and then being so scared I was going to be found out. And I don't know, I must have been acting weird, but Amanda straight called me out. You started your period, didn't you?
Oh my God.
Of course she did.
How old were you?
I was
That's amazing.
13, I think. Yeah. Maybe almost 14.
How did she know? Were you just being sheepish?
I don't remember. I just remember that she called me out.
That
and
is
I
so
think I
funny.
denied it at first. And why? Why would I deny it? Who cares? And so that's why I'm like, I love the idea of a period party. Like, let's it doesn't have, now I'm not like, rah, periods, hooray.
No.
But at least something that you don't have to have shame about. I mean, do you remember when it's something I want to educate not only my girls on, but my boys to be cool about it and not be like, ooh, gross. I remember friends in college, guys being like, oh, don't talk about periods.
Oh my God. I remember guys that I was dating being grossed out about the idea of a period. I'm like, who are you?
I actually think if you're not willing to talk about periods and buy tampons for someone, you shouldn't be allowed to have sex with them.
Right.
Most certainly.
I completely agree with that.
So I feel like I want my boys to be cool and like understand that it can be a rough time of the month. My sister, I had really irregular, like I only had like 2 periods the first year, whereas my sister went through very heavy periods. She would bleed through pads. It was much harder. But I used tampons from the beginning. The only time I've ever used pads in my life was after having children, when you're not allowed to put a tampon in.
That's really fascinating, actually, because I used pads. I was like you. I started and it was very sporadic. I don't even know if like I wrote it down the first time. I remember I was in the bathroom in the 6th grade hallway in middle school, but I don't remember like the next time it happened. Like it just didn't stick out in my mind.
I don't remember the next time. I remember the first.
But I do know I wore pads. And then at some point, because my mom always used tampons, she must have bought them for me. But clearly she didn't show me how to use them. Now I'm going to, pun intended, insert myself into Ava's face and be like, I'm going to show you how to do this. Because otherwise it's going to be traumatic for you.
You know, the other thing is I started with cardboard applicators, which are
they're awful because when they get damp, that you can't really use them.
And they hurt anyway.
No, and they hurt.
You need like lube.
Well, and you know what's
things.
funny?
Like,
it's like the first time I used those, like any tampon, right? I didn't realize, I'm going to just be gross. I didn't realize you take the tampon and you put it in and then you push the thing. Yeah. I thought you put the tip in and push it. So like the tampon sits literally in your like lower vagina. And it was so awful. And so I was like, how do people wear these? So for months I did that.
And did it just like burn?
Yeah, like so
probably
awful.
Not as effective.
There was no lubrication either, so it was so dry. It was awful. Yeah. So I finally just stopped using them. I'm like, I don't know how anybody does this. And I think it was like, I don't know, my junior year of high school when I finally was like, wait, let me look at the instructions. Let me like read the diagram.
Gosh.
And I did it right.
Well, now people I'm sure can YouTube it.
I know.
And if anyone's watching, you don't. It's not the way.
That's not the way to do it. Don't follow me.
Oh,
wait. Okay. So what were you saying?
Yeah. About what?
About like you said you remember the first time, but
I remember the first. So I was 10.
That's young.
I was really young.
Did you know about periods yet?
Yeah. So I grew up. My mom was very open,
and you have sisters,
and I have 2, and I'm the youngest of like of 3 girls, and so there was no like I wasn't scared at all, but I was super embarrassed because I was the only one that like in my grade I was in band class
that had started.
Yeah.
Wait, 10 is 4th
very
grade.
young.
Third grade?
I was in 5th grade
or 4th. Okay.
Oh wow.
But yeah, 10 turning 11.
Okay.
And it was like the first week of school. And it like we just started band and I was a drummer. So I was like doing percussion. And I remember sitting down on the seat and then looking and there was like a little like thing of blood. And so so stupid. I wiped my hand in it and I went and I told the band instructor that I accidentally hit myself with a drumstick and I busted my finger and I needed to go to the office. And that was like how I didn't want any guys like I just remember going to the office.
Sweet little baby Kaela.
But like looking back, I'm like, dang, you're good.
Yeah,
like,
you are.
I was like,
that's really smart.
Like,
actually,
this is like I'm gonna make it look like.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I was like, and I knew what happened. I knew, but like. I was wearing, I remember they were these khakis from Old Navy, and they were like the wide leg. This was in 98. Yeah.
98. I was in college.
Oh, yeah. Same.
My husband was at his senior year of high school.
Also true.
So was mine.
But like, and I just remember like trying to figure out how I was going to like say. And so you know how you used to have to like pack gym clothes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I just said that like when I smashed my finger, I got blood on my pants. And so I just wore my gym clothes. Like I made this whole believable like thing up with it.
They were like, I don't see any wound, but okay.
Yeah. But I remember like getting home and here's the thing. I went to the principal's office and I still didn't tell them that I started my period. I just asked for a Band-Aid for my finger. And like,
did they have a school nurse at the time?
No, like
Did
very
you just
small
like
school.
stuff some toilet paper? Like, okay.
Oh, I bundled it up. I think I made like, I knew what tampons were, and I'm pretty sure like I just took toilet paper and rolled it up and made a tampon, which I've done a few times as an adult, like in an emergency situation. You know the toilet paper tampon.
Oh yeah.
And
I've never done a toilet paper tampon. I've done like a toilet paper pad.
Yeah.
Oh, I've totally
That
done
works, too.
like
You shove it up.
yeah.
You can make it into a little point.
I've never
kind of
done
roll
that.
it, and then,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway.
you like I feel like I've gotten creative with different times I've been like
here's
performing.
I have one Q-tip and 4.
Yeah, you just figure it out. You just figure it out. But I remember like for like the next like week and a half, I wore a Band-Aid on my finger.
Oh.
Like I like
I'm gonna own this lie.
I like went into character over my smashed finger, but
you didn't feel like embarrassed. You were mostly like, I just don't want to tell anyone.
no, I was totally fine talking to my mom about it.
Yeah.
I know that like when I was probably 4, like Evie's age. I remember like my mom was a lot like your mom, or a lot like you, where just very open. She was always naked and just a very comfortable.
Yeah, Kim, I know I like you.
No, just like in an open, like there was never curiosity. I knew what like women's bodies.
The Thigh Master days. The Thigh Master naked.
No, she was not doing Thigh Master
Sorry, Kim, we
naked.
love you.
My mom is gonna be mortified.
She is.
But I remember like seeing her like
It's
use
Jen's
pads.
fault.
And so when I was like 4, my mom, like I remember, you know how you have memories like when you were very little, but I used to fold toilet paper up and put it in my underwear. And my mom like was
pretending,
like pretending, like, and I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
and I didn't know. I mean, at that age, I didn't know it was bleeding. I just
Right.
thought,
But that's kind of like you feeling prideful about it, which is cool.
yeah.
My
and
kids
so-
like to use my tampons as drumsticks.
That works too.
But I was a cheerleader, and so I feel like my entire high school, like like when I think about cheerleading, I think about like being on my period and how it is really hard. But fortunately, like my mom was great at like talking about things and being open. And I've always used tampons just because of sports and different stuff.
So how do you intend to approach it with Loxley? Is that something, because you started at a young age, you're like probably prepared for her starting at a
that's a
younger
good
age?
point.
Well, I mean, I'm the naked mom too.
Yeah.
So I feel like she will. I am like I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's at an age. I will never not be naked in front of her. We did just stop like
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did like because she used to shower with him or take a bath with me and like on and off, and like there's been some curiosity, and so we're like, okay, like that age, that's done.
But it's just
my
like
God.
the innocence is so sweet.
For me, I always have a curiosity if me starting so young has affected my
Your
fertility.
fertility
journey.
Because
I was
there's
gonna ask
there's
you
a
that,
lot
but
of
I
correlation
wanted to go
and
into it.
studies with that, but it's not. There's only like studies shown. It's
I
not
have a
anything.
friend who started in 3rd grade and she has fertility struggles. That's what
Oh,
I was
wow.
kind of wondering.
But
when
I
you
will
thought
I will
that.
always be super open with
Yeah.
Loxley with any medical thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just the other day I got Dysport done, and she was
Elizabeth
like
Smith.
Elizabeth
In the
Smith,
RX. Go there.
amazing. And she's sitting on my lap while like Elizabeth is out in her like lab area doing her little like concoction stuff.
Yeah.
And she comes back in and she's like, "Mom, is your forehead sick?" Because she was like, she put the
Aw.
numbing cream on my forehead.
Right.
And I was like, "No, it's just very tired." And so like Elizabeth came back in and like she's like, you know, like fixing me all up.
Yeah.
And after Elizabeth walked out, she was like, "Mom, your forehead must be really sick." And I was like, "It's got all the
So
shots."
cute.
Meanwhile,
love
my
how they
child's
think.
never had a shot.
Have
I
you
know,
guys
right?
ever?
I know.
She's like,
Have
"She
you guys
doesn't
ever
know."
used your period as an excuse?
Ooh.
To be
I
like,
use an excuse to not have sex. Can I say that? Is
Sure,
that,
you can say that.
I have.
Well,
Although I use flex discs now, and Adrian knows I use them.
yeah.
Wait, you have sex with flex?
You can, absolutely. They're like
I mean, you
old
don't have
school
to share that.
diaphragms that
I-
fit like
I
way
know-
up around your stomach.
I used to use them.
Not like a cup, obviously. So
You
yeah,
know,
you
I
can
don't
have
even
sex
mind.
on
Like,
them.
I have no issue with like sex on my period, and Ty doesn't either. It's just like
Yeah.
easier not to.
It
It's
is
less
easier
messy
not to, especially like the first couple days. I'm like,
We-
nope.
I he doesn't care anything I say, but like back in the day, we used to. In fact,
I know
one
that
of-
story.
Yeah, so one of
Wait,
the moments
That's
I don't
when
know
you
if I
found
know
out you.
this.
I was
you're
like, he
he's-
really loves me because we had taken like a last minute trip to Chicago together, and we stayed with a friend, but we got a hotel for one night just for fun to feel like we were just getting away. And I was on my period, and I think it's even one of those moments where like I thought I was done, but sometimes when you have sex, it sort of like starts back up. And of course, hotels like white sheets, and he literally like we got up and took a shower together, and then I was still just like getting out of the shower, and he took like the bar soap and he was just like scrubbing the sheets, just like getting the blood out, and then he just looked at me so lovingly, like he just like looked in my eyes, and I was like, he is literally scrubbing my blood out of sheets and looking at me so adoringly. And this person just truly loves me for everything I am.
I love that.
That's
Yeah,
really
it was
cute.
really sweet. Did you already say how you started your period and
Just that it was like 6th grade, and I was in the bathroom in the 6th grade hallway. Like,
Yeah.
it was very anticlimactic, and I'm not sure. I think I went home and told my mom, but I don't remember it feeling like
a big deal?
yeah. And I know it was, but maybe I'm just misremembering it because I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
really
I
remember.
mean, that's a good thing.
yeah.
I remember one.
Yeah, I
don't
know.
much different.
Not traumatic, exactly.
You didn't pretend to smash your finger.
No.
I remember when I was in high school, we had in our cheerleading uniforms, we had gold spankies, like metallic gold spankies. And I remember.
Is that like bloomers?
Yes, we called them
Spankies?
spankies.
Okay.
Maybe it's an Ohio thing. I don't know. Is
We
that an
called
Ohio thing? I don't
We
know.
called them bloomers.
Yeah, bloomers. That's what they call them here.
But like I was doing a toe touch and I remember like my tampon like popped out.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
Like, do you know
That's
that
the worst
do you know that
feeling.
feeling?
It's the
And so
worst
when I came
feeling.
down, I was like, and so it wasn't like gonna shoot out. It's not like, but you know that feeling where it's just
Yeah.
like, and I was like, I was on the like opposite side of the court where
Yeah.
you could get to the door to the bathrooms.
Right.
And I was like, is it gonna fall on the, I remember being so scared, is it gonna fall on the floor? Which it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But
Unless
like,
you're using them like I did, which was...
I wasn't, but I just know that I was like tumbling. So my body was clenching and like pushing and like, which is kind of cool because that's how you have a baby too.
Right.
Like
But those muscles, those
those
pelvic muscles were working.
and like when you go up to do a toe touch and like, oops, I just kicked the mic, and like come back like. Apparently there was some like squeezing in there that just like squeezed a little hard.
So then did you have to run to the bathroom or did you have to keep
Yeah.
cheering like that?
No, I remember like staying on the sidelines and just like I was
You're
like,
like, it's not a small penis, it is a tampon, guys.
well, it wasn't like out, but like it was definitely, and I just remember that feeling.
that tiny bulge down
Yeah,
there.
but what was bad, I don't know, this is so TMI, but I don't know if anyone else struggles with this, but like anytime I'm on my period, if I use a tampon, I have to pee frequently, and like
It's like pushing on your bladder or something.
yeah, but like I feel like I like oh, this is so TMI. Sometimes like I have to wear a pad so I don't like pee a little bit, like if I'm wearing a tampon.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
TMI.
Well, it's
So
funny
it can
the
also
way-
be hormonal. Like hormones can affect
And
a little, it
so-
can cause a certain balance of hormones can cause a little
It's like
incontinence.
it's been an issue
Yeah.
like always, and it's worse after like giving birth.
Yeah.
But I know that like I needed to like I didn't have an extra pair of Spankies and I needed another pair of Spankies. And I only had a black pair and I was like, it's gonna be so obvious if I go out.
Yeah.
And like
My other color Spankies.
my other colored Spankies. And I remember that was like a really, really like embarrassing conversation to have with my cheer coach. And she
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
she didn't care.
She didn't
all
care.
the
She was
women at
amazing.
the middle school level are awesome with that stuff.
Yeah.
They're just, my neighbor is the school nurse at the elementary school.
Yeah.
And I was so worried that Ava or one of the girls in the neighborhood was going to start, like
Yeah.
at school. She's like, oh, girl. She's like, we are so prepared.
It's
She's
the
like,
best
we
place to
have
start at that."
everything
Yeah.
they need.
That's
and I'm
amazing.
like, oh, okay. Well, it's wonderful.
Okay, last question. I just thought of this. Have you guys ever had an instance where you started your period in just the worst scenario?
Wait, let me add something. This is sort of to that question.
Yeah.
But okay, so you know how I said like I went through this period where I was trying to use tampons and clearly not using them, right?
Yeah.
It was the impetus for that was it was summer. It was like pool season, right?
Uh-huh.
So I will never forget. I was going into 7th grade, I guess, or either that or going into 8th grade. And my mom was taking us from the pool to the middle school to see what teachers we had. You know how they used to post them outside,
Yeah.
like in class lists?
Mhm.
Well, I jumped out of the car. I had a bathing suit on. I didn't have a towel on because no one was there. It was just me running up to look. And I get back in the car and mom's like, you have a tampon string hanging down your
Oh
leg, Jen.
no.
I was like, what?
Dang
Apparently, it
tampon
was like not
strings.
in my bathing suit. It was because I was using them wrong. Like it was like hanging out, like it's like down. So anyway, word to the wise: tuck them in the bathing suit.
Yeah.
Tuck them all the way
Put
up.
those strings
Tuck-
in.
tuck
Tuck them up, or
Tuck
use
them
a
up.
flex
Strings in.
disc. I mean,
Tuck
come
'em.
on.
Okay. Well, any
Okay,
advice
sorry.
I would
What
love
about you?
if I've had one of those?
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a mortifying moment like that. I mean, I feel like I've had friends who were wearing the white pants and actually it was more of the
Yeah.
white leotard moment. But I don't think the most I've ever had is like I would like to go change my pants now. Like, but
Yeah.
I've never had super heavy periods except for after having children and in a couple of, just hormonal shift instances. So I feel like I've been pretty lucky that I haven't had a moment like that.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
Have you
That's
had
really
one?
So I've never really been embarrassed about like
Yeah.
periods. Like I've always just been like, this is what happens. But
Yeah.
I will say the worst, most inconvenient period to date was just a couple years ago when we went to Hawaii and I randomly, it was like, I thought my period was done, but it like restarted
Yeah.
like the day we took off flight and we got stuck in the airport for like 20 hours. That was when
Oh, yeah.
like we took Loxley to
Right.
Hawaii. And I was like on my period and it was like awful because we would sit on a plane for like a couple hours and I needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just you hate being on your period when you're flying.
Oh yeah.
And then I was on it like the first 3 days of like we were in Hawaii. So it was just
Yeah.
like really
bad timing.
Bad timing, and it was super like uncomfortable, and it was just a weird period. Here I found out it wasn't a period. I was that was my ectopic pregnancy. I didn't know.
Lord.
But yeah, it was but that was a month before I had my surgery. But like that was just like that was the most inconvenient, like just aggravating.
But none of us really have like period horror stories. And I think that actually is a good thing.
Mom's preparing us though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel like a lot of that is I can thank my mom for like teaching me to be mature. And like like versed with my body and what's going to happen. And I think as moms, like it's really important that we set our kids up for that because
well, what you said is dead on, and that is like setting our kids up, because for me it's been as much of a struggle with talking to my boys about periods as it has been Ava, because again, it's like Charlie is not that much younger than, he's 20 months younger than Ava. So for him, he again was really aware of what my body was doing, you know, with Evie and beyond. And I think that it's really important that boys understand how babies are made, how they're conceived, when they're conceived.
Yeah, the timing.
And
that is really important.
Boys need to know about ovulation.
They need to know.
They need to know about all of that.
It's confusing for them. I mean, I remember when we were trying to get pregnant and the ovulation, like most boys aren't like luteal phase, you know? I mean, even a lot of, I probably didn't know about that until I was trying to get pregnant. And I probably didn't know as much about it until then. But it is kind of important that you understand those things. So, and I think we are all leaning more towards or educating our kids earlier. But I can see myself really just ending up having one of these like birds and bees talks and just completely forgetting to mention to my boys about periods.
I know.
Because it's not something.
It's not on there.
Yeah.
Well, and like.
It is important.
I don't have any boys, but how cool would it be if this next generation of young men coming up
knows to just give lots of massages during that time?
Well, that, but like just
should we just train the generation to be like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. Girls start their periods, and then you give them shoulder massages.
And that really awesome box of chocolates over there.
And you bring them chocolates, kind of and that's what you
just
do.
To be emotionally mature about
even
it.
Even if we don't need it, even if it's just easy periods. It's still
girls have to be as educated about all forms of contraceptives as guys do, and guys have to be informed about natural family planning and what that means. As women
and
do.
I never had bad periods. And then I went through a phase of my life where I had no periods. I didn't even know if I could have kids. I would have one period a year. It was due to a lot of hormone issues, which is figured out now. But until I had my second child, I never had the debilitating cramps and fatigue and hormonal that I did. And I remember being like, wow, I have a new appreciation for this, because I never really needed to use it as an excuse. And now I almost feel like I'm over dramatizing, because I'll be like, oh my God, my
but
cramps,
you're in a different time of life now too, because that's what's happening to me is like life, it's shifted. It definitely is shifted, because like I've been weaned long enough, right? And you have too. That our cycles have regulated, but they're also really different. And I think that's being in your mid 40s. Also, so
I have
that'll
like
be another
ovulation cramps, and I have we need to do a whole other episode on that, because I feel like I have more PMS now than I ever did. When from the time I started my period.
Ovulation is like a bigger bitch for me than anything.
That's when I retain water. It's right now for me. It's like when I retain water, when I have cramps.
Did we talk about this recently?
I think we're synced up pretty well. But that's when I have more PMS. I will sometimes have bad cramps the first day of my period now, but most of it's at ovulation. So anyway, any advice that anybody listening or watching has for talking to your kids or your own experiences, also, share them, please.
Look up Bert Kreischer's period party. I'm going to freaking tag him on this episode. He'll love it.
Do you guys want some more Dal Vineyard's Bodyguard? Okay.
I do.
Let's do it.
The Hi, My Name is Mom studio is brought to you by the Yard Sale Store. Check them out at yardsalestore.com and on socials at Yard Sale USA.